Welcome. You've got mail.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess this means we're going back to the 90s, y'all. Today on Live and Queer. Welcome to Live and Queer, QCC's Queer Arts Show. That's right, we're back. I'm your host, Maya Chinchilla, and we're kicking off season 2 today. We'll be dropping episodes about once a month from now on until May, and then we're going to end the season with an in-person show that you can see live in June at the National Queer Arts Festival. It's going to be so totally awesome. I can't wait. Since we're premiering a new season today, we're kicking it off with a bang, bringing on an extra special guest, my good friend, the super talented San Jose queer poet and writer, Yosimar Reyes. You're really going to want to hear all about his one-man show, Prieto, which is his undocumented journey from rags to high fashion through the eyes of his 8-year-old 90s self. But before we bring on Yosimar, my producer is making me do something ridiculous again. All right, here it goes. Do 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 ah. It doesn't matter what comes, Queer Art's here for you. Live and Queer is full of life. Our show's for you. It's so fresh and so cool. Live and Queer is full of life. Subscribe to us on this channel. Like and share too. Live and Queer is full of life. Live and Queer, the art maker. Oh my gosh. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's bring on Yosimar Reyes, everyone.
Hola, hola, hola. Hi, friends. Un placer estar aquí con ustedes.
Hello, Yosimar. It's been so long. So good to see you.
Likewise. I know it's been a very long time.
I know. Have we made it through these last 2 years? We shall see. Let's take a talk and we'll kiki about that. But before that, let's see a little bit of your work.
I love my undocumented people. I love us because every day we wake up to a country that hates us. We wake up, give thanks to God, and go to work. Watch the news, hear how our own TVs vilify us. We change the channel and pray that tomorrow will be a better day for us. When they give us a little breathing room, we make the most of it. We're so grateful that often we forget we deserve better. That all this mess is not our fault. We stay low on the radar. Want peace. Want to exist without the added stress of having to be public about where our spirits ache. We just want to go to work to feed our families, yet we become scapegoats to a system that is addicted to exploiting the poor. I love my undocumented people because the way our spirits are toyed with, you need some unfathomable strength. I love us because we have constantly had to prove our humanity and constantly done it beautifully. Because to stay human under these conditions, you have to have an understanding of beauty. love us. Even when our stories are manipulated and exploited. Even when we are presented as gloom and doom narratives. I love us. Because at the end of the day, somehow we always manage to make something out of nothing. I love my undocumented people. Because being undocumented is not political. It's not physical. It is a condition created to keep us from smiling. But look at us, thriving.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I mean, I have seen your work probably since you were in your teens, and and I've seen it over and over, and it still sort of hits me, like you bring in that like realness and yeah, what's that like? I mean, you've just had such growth and such a trajectory, and I love that you've also been able to collaborate with some people to kind of bring your work from the stage to video and all of that. So
Yeah, I started doing poetry when I was 16. My birthday is in September. I'm about to be 34, so it's been a while. But it's been awesome. I think for me, I'm always so grateful and blessed that people find themselves reflected in the work enough to share it. And I think that I've been lucky enough that the work has spread through word of mouth or people finding it and it's doing what they want with it. And so I'm always really honored when people are like, oh, I saw your video, or like, oh, I like that poem you wrote. So yeah, and I'm always so grateful for people supporting me. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've been supporting you since the
Oh my
For Color
God.
Boys days. I have your first chapbook
Oh my
here, the
God.
little baby face Yosimar. And yeah, I mean, I don't think this is available, but it was, yeah, so much fun. Back in the days when I was in a girl group, we got to perform as part of your book release, and we got to walk the cat. You made us walk the catwalk, and Trey was there, Mama Quat was there. I mean, it was like the most fun I've ever had at an event, and it was in San Jose.
Yeah, that book release was pivotal for me because here I am, like I was like 19, 20, around that age, that I was like, I want to release a book. And I wanted to release that book because I wanted people to, it was like my Frida Kahlo moment when she tells Diego, tell me these paintings are good. If not, I gotta do something else. Because I really, because I really wanted people to know that, oftentimes when we do teenage poetry, oftentimes adults think, oh, it's just like a phase or something, And for me, it really wasn't. For me, it was like, if this doesn't work for me, I have immigrants to support. I have a family to support. And if this is not the path, then please let me know so I can go do something else. And I've been lucky enough that up till now, this is my career. And now I can, be a working artist and a working writer. And it allows me the time to also take care of my grandma, and to do all the things that I need to do. Because, oftentimes in this country, what ends up happening is we become workers,
Right.
and we don't have the luxury of time.
And because of all that, your trajectory, I mean, from that time as being a teen poet, to starting to write your plays and do longer pieces. So let's talk a little bit about Prieto.
Yeah, so Prieto is a one-man show that follows my journey, coming of age, growing up in Eastside San Jose as a queer, undocumented. Well, I guess I don't even think we were working class. We were a poor girl, like straight up. cucaracha poor. Okay,
Yeah.
so it just follows that journey of that. And just for me, it was important to represent undocumented people, but in general, represent poor people. I think oftentimes we don't really discuss class as a
Yeah.
structural violence. And for me, it was like, how do I talk about growing up poor and the violence of poverty that happens to queer bodies? And so, especially queer kids.
Yeah.
And so the play follows that journey.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I think is important about my show is that, yes, it's about growing up undocumented, but it's written in a comedy. I think a lot of times when we hear undocumented
Yeah.
narratives, it's very gloom and doom. And for me, my style has always been to make fun of the things that a lot of people would not think as hilarious. But I think that's part of being Mexicano and a part of being, like I think that's where I get my sense of humor.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think it's gonna be overall it's gonna be a good time. And yeah, I'm really excited to have people see it.
That is like part of your work, your life, and trying to be, all of the parts of who you are and writing. And then also, yeah, like taking it to that level of like, just because this is, people want to only tell that story, right? Of like tragedy. And then they don't also want to come back and look at it. They just, on the news or whatever, it's crisis, sad, sad stories. And not that they're, we can't live and come through sad stories. But yeah, I think that's what people love about your work is, you have fun, you show that joy. You aren't, and you seem unapologetic, como dicen, right? So we love that about you, Yossi. So yeah, tell me about your abuelita. So you share some stories about her sometimes. I feel like she's becoming famous too. I mean, she's
Yeah, I'm so blessed. One of the things for me was like, how do I create my grandma's legacy that goes beyond her being my grandma and her representing something greater? My grandma's 86 years old, undocumented. And I think that's the other thing for me was very important when we talk about undocumented people. We talk about dreamers, we talk about DACA recipients, we talk about young people. Even though I'm 34, a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, you're a child." Like it's very interesting that people say like,
stay
"Oh,
youthful, stay
they're
youthful.
like they're like the DACA kids." Like, baby, I'm grown, okay? But for me, it was also like representing for elders. There's a high population of elders that are aging in the shadows, and there's
Yeah.
no policy, there's no programs that protect them.
Nope.
Thankfully, right now, Governor Newsom with the Health for All now, undocumented elders can qualify for full benefits for Medi-Cal. But other
Yeah.
than that, there is no advocacy for them. And so for me, it was like, imagine aging in a country that vilifies you daily and knowing and being stuck between wanting to go home, but home is the people that you love and that
Yeah.
separation.
Yeah.
And so for me it was like, I'm gonna have my grandma explore her feelings. And now, we used her to promote the vaccine. There was high anxiety with elders, especially Latino communities that did not want the vaccine. So we helped my grandma like be a promotora for health. And a lot of people kind of view her as a kind of like a leader, even though she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I think that example. She's right now. Rafa Esparza did a painting of her. Shout out to Rafa Esparza, and
Wow.
it
That's
just got
amazing.
yeah, it just
Yeah.
got bought as part of the permanent collection for the San Jose Art Museum, which to me was a big deal
Wow. Yeah.
because she's in our museum of the city that we represent for
Yeah.
permanently. And so
Yeah.
at least we had left that stamp that this undocumented viejita is part of a permanent collection in that museum. And
Yeah.
so I think my for me is more, how do I make her life enjoyable and pleasurable? Because I think about Mexicanas is sufrida, sufrida, sufrida. The girls
Right.
love
I'll
to suffer.
suffer. Yes. Yes. I mean, and so, you write about her, you tell some of her stories, but that's like cool because sometimes we don't, like our families don't always know what we do, don't always know what we say, but she seems to be a little bit more brought in to that, and I've just seen some gorgeous pictures taken of her by our mutual friend Jean, and just, yeah, that's That's definitely, and so she's part of your story, right? Of the play that you're presenting, the in Prieto, right?
Yeah, it's basically these anecdotes of growing next to my grandmother. The way that I tell it is kind of like a tale, these two tales happening simultaneously because she's
Mm-hmm.
undocumented and she's exploring that and she's living through that. And at the same time, she has to raise this little queer kid
Mm,
who, I mean, I'm not
yeah.
saying that I'm high maintenance, but I do have a certain
Oh,
standard
oh,
of living.
oh, okay. Okay. Like, so
So
what are you then? Like medium to high, medium rare? Like
I feel like compared to a lot of the girls, I am a what's it, the basic needs. Like, that's all I need.
basic needs, right? Food, shelter, fashion.
That's it. That's it.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
her having to, yeah, like you and siblings and yeah,
Yeah,
what
you know
else?
what? I feel like I don't remember. I don't know if you remember, but in Cherry Moraga's piece that she did at the Bravo Theater, I forgot the name of the play, but there was a
Was it
character
digging up
in
the dirt? Was it when Adelina Anthony?
which she was a
Uh-huh.
perrito.
Yeah, she was a coyote.
He was a coyote. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Coyote. Yeah.
But in that scene, there was a woman that said that there's this idea that we're babies in the spirit world. We choose our parents and we choose the families that we land into because it
Okay.
takes a special kind of person to raise a queer spirit. And I always carry that with me. And I think the kind of spirit that it took for my grandma to raise me into the man I am today
Mm,
without bruising it, without policing it, without allowing me to be, I think I'm very blessed and grateful that I can
mm,
say that I don't harbor those feelings towards my grandmother because she was always like, you can be
mm,
whatever you want, you know? And so I think about a lot. Yes, a lot of people view that I didn't have, my mom wasn't around or I didn't have a
mm.
father. Like, we talk about those abandonment issues that come out when I'm out here thoughting and bopping. But
Right.
but in the general sense, I think, wow, like I'm blessed. I'm so grateful that at least I had that person that unconditionally loves me, like unconditionally. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm at least I
Y
can say that.
te regaña
Oh
o like,
girl, we get into I feel like sometimes I'm fighting with her and if people would walk in, they think it's elderly abuse. But it's just like she's like my friend, so I can feel
yeah.
like but it looks bad when you're arguing with an 86-year-old in public.
Yes. No. Yeah, no. Keep that at home. No, but it's mutual support, right?
Yeah,
Interdependence.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see. Okay, so then the show like it takes place in the 90s. I mean, I don't know if you saw today, I'm wearing my overoles, my overalls, one side up, a little clippy clips, the harsh bang here. And also the darkest I used to wear very burgundy lipstick. So when I heard it was about the 90s, I was like, woo girl, I remember the 90s. I got my emotional support scrunchie as well too. So tell me about that. What are the things about the 90s like that you remember also being, you know, like from these multiple cultures and all
Yeah.
of that?
So we landed in 91. So my upbringing was all 90s. Eastside San Jose, Chuy Gomez, California Music Channel, a lot of music. So
Uh-huh.
SWB, Total. I wanted to be an
Uh-huh.
escape. It's very
Yes.
interesting because when I read a lot of memoirs, a lot of people, it's interesting that we talk about assimilation, right? Of assimilating into a dominant white narrative. But my upbringing, Black culture was American culture.
Mm,
Moesha, the
mm-hmm,
Wayans brothers, In Living Color, all that.
mm-hmm.
That's what we watched because I was in the hood. So I wasn't watching Friends. I was not watching Dawson's Creek.
Right.
I
Right.
wasn't watching. I was not watching. I was watching the WB for Moesha. So for me,
Yeah.
it was more of like this. I think oftentimes when we talk about narratives with Latinos, especially in assimilation, we oftentimes compare it to assimilating to whiteness. But for
Mm.
me, it was like I lived in the hood with poor people, and so what people listened to was hood stuff. So I think whiteness was not in my radar because the only white person I knew was the principal at school.
Oh,
but
exotic.
other than but other than that, I for me it was more about that. Oh, let's talk about that. How is it that monolingual Spanish speakers can grow up next to Samoans? next up to black folks. Like that is kind of like what the early 90s in San Jose was. Um, and so it's a lot of those reference. 90s R&B is big. Um, so all of that. But at the same time, simultaneously comparing it to monolingual Spanish speaking culture, telenovelas, Inglés sin barreras,
Yes.
street vendors, the same things you see in a Latino neighborhood. So trying to catch that kind of mosaic of a city, especially at this time. And I don't remember if you remember 1994, Prop 187 for
Yes.
undocumented people was a
Absolutely.
huge thing. And so
Yeah.
that impacted the lineage that now, this last president that we had was using the same rhetoric. So those are the kind of things that I think would make the play a little different. But I think one of the things that we're talking specifically in Latino and the lack of Latino shows when Latinos make the broader audiences,
Yeah.
how sometimes that can be insulting to think that we don't have new ideas or that we don't have current lives that we're living. And so I think that is kind of like the frustration that we're not allowed to be messy, or I don't know. So it's looking for that.
Right. And I think that comes back to even what people are drawn to in your work, but also that like you're not like this perfect, the perfect immigrant. And that's stressful. That's not good for your mental health to try to have to be some perfect something in order to get human rights. You need to live your life. And so, yeah, I love that about your work. And you're probably just doing it naturally, but you're like, I
Yeah,
can't
you know
live
what? One of the
like
things that I
this.
made sure when we were editing the script, because it's a long process to edit the script. One of the biggest things for me was like, this is not, you will not know I will not explain what DACA is in this thing. I am not going to explain why I still don't have papers. This is not an educational show.
Okay.
If you bring your grandma
Right.
here and she don't know what DACA is, I'm sorry, baby. Like, we got to keep it moving. I feel like being an undocumented immigrant is like being that professor that says, it's on the syllabus. It's on the syllabus.
It's on the syllabus. Do you give them a
I'm
reading
like,
list?
read the syllabus.
A
Girl,
bibliography?
I've done shows all over the country and I still there's bound to be one or two people at the end. It's like, so why? I don't get it. Girl. So I
Yeah,
think like
yeah,
that's the other thing
yeah.
about being an artist and immigrant
No.
is like these constant explanations of things that have already been explained. But I think one of the biggest things that I
Yeah.
decided with this show was like, this show is for undocumented audiences. Like this is the people that I am taking care of. Everybody else is invited, but if you're undocumented and you come from that lived experience, this is the show that's gonna be like, this is an insight for us, because for so long our stories have been to persuade voters. This show does not have a call to
Yeah.
action, baby. Don't think that you're gonna come to my show and I'm gonna give you a petition. Just come experience the show.
Yeah, yes, enjoy it. And if your art just happens to be transformative and turn somebody out, it
It
just
just
happens to do
happened.
that.
I feel like I feel like even queer artists, there's so much pressure in us trying to convince or justify our presence or existence that sometimes you just want to
Yeah.
be like, if you know how the kids say now, if you know, you know. That's it. If you know, you know.
You know. Bet. I hang around kids.
I know you're with the little
Period.
kids. Well, let me not be ages. The young adults.
Right. No, 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 no. Yeah, no, they teach me. They teach me. I teach them. We teach each other. Yes. I mean, it's fabulous. And yeah, and I mean, to truth, 100% truth. I'm always using your work in
Thank
class.
you.
I know that I can like just really push some buttons, push some boundaries, and some, queer folks in a class will be the first time they've ever been seen, or, like they have that sense of humor all day, every day, and that's how they get through life. And yeah, they appreciate it, they really do.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes when people push my buttons, I was like, thank God I read what is the Don Manuel Ruiz,
The
the
Four
Four
Agreements?
Agreements. Thank God
Be impeccable.
be impeccable, girl. The reflection of your reality is not a reflection of mine. So I don't take anything personal. I always like try, especially in this work. I think for me, what's more Adam, I think it's more of like people that don't respect you as a human being enough to feel that they have the right to talk to you. There's a certain tone
Yeah.
that if you come from where I come from, it's not gonna work. But I think for me,
No.
I let go of that. Oftentimes, when I was younger, and I heard people discussing immigrants, undocumented people in a way that was derogatory, I would think that I would have to insert myself and defend it. But now I realize that, it's none of my bit. Like, if that's how you're gonna walk in the world, hopefully one day life is gonna slap you in the face and you're gonna figure it out. But for me, it's more like for my own sanity and my own protection. I can't feed into that. I can't be like that. So I've been practicing a lot of that. But no, I think it also what helps for me, I think, is that a lot of this work is humor. So a lot of times people
Yeah.
that never met an undocumented person are like, oh my God, I didn't know I could laugh at that, or that could be funny. And I think it's very interesting that disarms people's ideas of that I'm gonna come give this serious TED talk. And so I think that has been as beneficial to me. But let me see. No, I think I always get one or two people at the end that want to have a debate with me. I don't know why people like debating. Like, girl, join the debate team, baby. Like, I was like, if you want to debate with me,
Right.
I'm gonna send you an invoice and you can schedule a Zoom call and we can figure it out. But you think I'm gonna waste my time arguing with somebody that has no relevance in my life? Go. I don't even got Twitter, so you can go
Right.
on a rant on a thread on Twitter because I don't have it. I'm not gonna read it. So I think those are the things. Just protection.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to protect your spirit. I mean, it's no small task because, like, performers, like, I think what I've learned from people like you mentioned, Adelina Anthony and Cherie Moraga, is like we're like crossroad figures. We're portals into unknown worlds. Are there other artists that you have been inspired? Like, there's all these different directions your work could go. I'm hoping someday I don't know, I want more books from you, but you could do whatever you want. Nobody, these are just small little inputs. But are there artists that you're inspired by that helped you kind of develop your humor or your writing for performance?
Yeah. Well, right now, one of the beautiful things that's happening is that undocumented writers are creating their own canon. You can actually teach a literature class with undocumented authors. You don't have to bring a citizen that writes about a study that they did about us and how they came to the community. You don't got to read about, oh, I followed these two migrants on a train and I wrote about their life. You don't have to do that no more, baby. We actually now have actual undocumented people writing our own story. We are the agents of our own narratives, and we are
Yes.
taking command and being the benefactors of those stories. And
Yes.
so I think right now, Javier Zamora, whose book Solito just came out, he is from El Salvador. He's speaking
Yes.
about being an unaccompanied minor from El Salvador, which is also amazing because it's the Central American experience. And I think what's
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
right
yeah.
now is that we're challenging that and saying like we need to have an education of like Central American and that history. The
Thank you.
Undocumented Americans by Carla Correjo Vicencio, who's from Ecuador. Amazing, amazing book. Jose Antonio Vargas, who's Filipino, who is my mentor. I'm so grateful that he's in my life to guide me in the things that I don't know.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to being funny, I went to watch Felipe Esparza. I don't know if you've seen his show. He has a show on Netflix. The most
Oh, yeah,
he's
yeah,
from
yeah.
he's from Boyle Heights. Un desmadre.
Okay.
He is talk about somebody that is unfiltered and just out of
Yes.
pocket. I really
Yes.
love his stand up. Also because it's rooted in being paisa and being Mexican and being working class. And I think
Yeah.
that's why I titled my show Prieto. Prieto means dark skin. And I
Right.
wanted to make that a point that I'm dark, that this skin is the way people approach me. This is
Yeah.
how people view me, how when people want to talk to me, and it's in broken Spanish, not knowing, bitch, I'm an English major. Like like this idea that, and also represent the neighborhood that I come from. And
Yeah.
so I want to represent for las señoras that are selling tamales. I want to represent for, the talented immigrants that oftentimes we don't call our gifts talents because we
Right.
just view it as a vehicle of survival, right? And so I'm
Yeah.
like, how do I tell that señora? that making tamales is an art form, or the señora that's a
Ooh.
costurera, that's an art
Yes.
form, or that there's,
Yes.
and I grew up in those apartments. The señora on 23 used to sell sodas, the other
Yeah.
one baked cakes,
Yeah.
the other one was a barber. I was like, imagine if we like use ese lenguaje en español to teach them that is a talent. And so
Yes.
hopefully this show,
craft.
a craft, yeah. So hopefully
Yes.
that this show represents for those ladies. So I'm really excited.
Yes, I'm so glad we got to have you here today and share your work and be able to connect.
Yeah,
know.
thank you for supporting this podcast and this show. So yeah, un placer estar aquí.
For all of you out there, Yosimar's one-man show, Prieto, will be in person at the Brava Theater from September 29th to October 1st and will be in San Jose later this fall. He does all sorts of other incredible things, so follow him on Instagram at Yosi Rey, pero no sean malitos, pórtate bien, and stay up to date. Links will be in the description.
Y no te olvides to like, share, and subscribe to Live and Queer and QCC to help this show grow.
All right, that's our show today. Yosimar and I are going to dance on out of here, so see you next time.